There we are. Let's wait for people to get in.
Okay, do you know what I want to know, people in the chat? Are you drinking tea or are you drinking coffee? Or are you like a matcha water person? That's what I want to know.
I got both, coffee and water. No tea.
It's in like a cute teacup though. I thought you were drinking tea.
No, I barely drink tea. It's mostly coffee.
Nice. But yeah, if you're in the chat, let me know what you're drinking. Because I'm drinking cold coffee and it's making me sad.
I think we can give it one more minute, Christina, before we kick it off.
Cool. Is matcha like a cool thing in the Netherlands right now?
Yeah, there are a lot of like little shops here in Amsterdam that sell a €10 matcha.
Yep, that sounds about right. Same as London then.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of it, but I also don't dislike the taste. So, but no, I just stick to our coffee from our machine, which is pretty good. I often also visit clients where there is this horrible coffee. I think there are a lot of offices with just very bad machines.
Yep.
I think we can start sharing the slides, Christina, and then we can kick it off.
Very cool. Yeah,
So,
I think it's ready to go.
Welcome, everyone. As some of you might know, my name is Matthijs Huiskamp. I'm the founder of Altura. We do these webinars quite often. We always like to welcome and invite experts over on specific topics. Today, with me is Christina. I think most of you also already know Christina. She's the founder of Stargazy. It's an independent intelligence network, specifically built for capture and proposal teams. They primarily focus on analyst-led research and also combining that with practitioner insights across all industries like GovCon, AEC, and also enterprise B2B. So she really knows this space inside out. Christina, can you tell us a bit more about yourself and what we're going to dive into today?
Yeah, of course. Thank you for coming to listen to me talk. But yeah, basically, the reason why I wanted to speak about this is because this is a lot of my background. I started out as a very young proposal person. I struggled with SMEs right away. I was in like the software space, and then I started managing teams of both proposal and also SMEs. So I managed teams of both in two different companies. And so this is like what I've had to struggle with and deal with in so many different capacities. And then when I left AWS to start my own consulting business, what I did was I went through a bunch of companies to look at their processes, their technologies, and I kid you not, no matter what, no matter like what industry, geography, or like what their bid team looked like, this was like their biggest complaint. It was like the SME responsiveness. Like it didn't matter if their win rate was really high or really low. Like this was a problem. They're like, Christina, I need help. Help me fix this. So this is like a topic that I have a lot of passion around, as weird as that sounds. But I'm hoping that I can give you some of the mistakes that I've learned from, like what I've done wrong in the past, and also what I've learned that really works. So that's a really like quick overview about me and SMEs, I guess.
Sounds good. Great. I also know we have some discussion points within the webinar today, and we invite you all to give your input, ask questions as we go along. Yeah, so let's kick it off and look forward to everything you're gonna share with us today, Christina.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to getting your insights. Like, I think one of the things I love is when I talk to people like you are speaking to so many different teams. Usually like from like a senior level all the way down to like every single person who's working on the bid. And so I'm looking forward to like seeing how our like what we see matches up. But like one thing that I've noticed a lot of is gosh, okay, so the SMEs, we know we need them no matter what industry we're in. They're incredibly important contributors, sometimes the most important contributors. Like without them, we 100% cannot, respond in a compliant or compelling way. We not if you're in construction, like you probably can't even build a response at all without them. And yet, they in no way report to the proposal function. Usually not even within like all the way up into the C level of where they report into, right? So they're an incredibly important part of our process. We need them so much, but they're just like not a part of our team. And so what that really means is there's a huge disconnect between what's important to them in their daily life and what they need to do, and then what's important to us in our daily life and what we need to do. And so the risks that we see, and there are at least 5 reports that I've seen this year that have talked about how SME input is a really underestimated operating risk in our work. And by risk, I mean, we lose out on deals, we submit non-compliant deals, or deals that are just not very compelling because we didn't have the right people helping us respond or review to our bids. That's huge operational revenue risks. These are obviously things that we deal with. And then the fix that I've noticed is that we have to do is redesigning the operating model. So in this webinar, like that's what Matthijs and I are going to go through are these 3 things: the problem, the risk, and then how we see we can fix it. What do you have anything you want to add though to that, Matthijs?
I'm also curious. You highlighted construction as a specific one. I think it's also nice to see, but I know we're also going to dive into that specifically, more sector-specific IDs and risks and fixes. I know there is quite some differences between industries of how much input is needed, but also how SMEs are motivated to give input. Some of these SMEs are more involved in the actual delivery than in other industries, and I also see a difference where they can, influence how it will be for them down the line when it needs to be delivered. I see a big difference there, and also how engaged SMEs are. So maybe we can also try to dive a bit into the differences between industries and what the win is for SMEs.
Yeah, such a good point. One thing that would really help me if you are in this webinar, if you can in your comments section like write in what industry you're in. That way I know like a little bit more what to focus on, because I don't want to sit there and talk about software if none of you are in software, or construction if none of you are in construction. So yeah, let me know what industry you're coming from. Okay, so before we dive in, one of the questions, another thing to put in the chat is, what struggles do you have in collaborating with your SMEs? And like, obviously, feel free to have a whinge, but also just if there's anything really specific that you run up against time and time again, this is good for other people to see because I think it's validating, but also for Matthijs and I, so we can, really make sure that we're talking about the struggles that you're really having, and then the fixes that we see within companies to help with those struggles. Also, I can't see the chat, so Matthijs, you'll have to let me know.
Yeah, I see it here. We are IT, consulting, a lot of tech, data center, HR services, facilities management. So very broad spectrum of different. I think that sums it up. Biotech also, third sector, consulting. And what we see also, what's coming in as a struggle is time prioritization from SMEs, which I think is also ties back into what's the benefit for these SMEs to really contribute to a bit. I think that is for me always a bit of the main topic, right? What's in it for me? It's not something that I'm being compensated for. It's not something that is directly tied to my OKRs, to my compensation, to whatever. And that is also SMEs have limited capacity. Coming up on the screen now. SMEs lack skill, knowledge, confidence to input into bits. And also SMEs not present in current workforce. I'm curious to understand, Emily, what you mean by that one. Is it that you need to get externals on board to get the right input, or are you just plainly missing the right people in the company at this stage? Some more context coming in. Yeah, so project management is also. So what I see off the right, it stems from for me the main problem is, okay, how can I get these people to do get them on board to give the input we need, and following from that there is a lot of secondhand problems coming up, right? Project management, how do I make sure that they get the right information? How do I make it as easy as possible for this SME to give input while also staying in control of the bit, while I'm chasing people, consolidating information, etc., etc. So I think that is we can take that as along for the rest of the conversation.
Yeah, gosh. So I wish I could tell you that it was so easy. You just need to communicate better or communicate more, send better Slack, send better team. No, like for the most part, if you are in this call and you're working in bids and proposals, you are probably already excellent at project management. You are probably excellent at setting up good timelines and communicating what those are to your SMEs. Like this is probably not a process problem that you have, right? But regardless of how well you're communicating and how often you're communicating, like what you need from these SMEs, it's not going to get better. And you've probably been great at it for like years and it hasn't gotten better necessarily. So what I am going to be suggesting in this webinar is something that's a lot more difficult to do, but so much more effective, which is kind of treating how we work with SMEs within our processes as a design problem. So like what I think the problem is a process problem that we have, and it's not necessarily on your side. So before I dive into that though, I was getting ahead of myself. I always get too excited about like the problem or the fix. But what I really see is like the communication issues that I do see, the project management issues I do see when I do come into proposal teams to look at what they're doing is oftentimes they're asking too much from their SMEs, and they're asking really vague questions or like vague, they just like, hey, can you just review this section? Like, what does that mean to an SME? Like, they're not good at reviewing necessarily, so you have to be so specific with them. Sometimes like we ask too late, sometimes something slips, even we forget, and we ask for something, maybe a week after we receive the RFP, as opposed to like almost the day we received the RFP, right? We also rely on people, like somebody, like what I see a lot actually is people are just hoping people are going to help them. They're like, we're good friends. We go to the pub on Thursdays. Like we know each other, right? Like they want to be helpful. So we're relying on them to, like Emily was saying in her comment, like we're relying on them despite them not having any time to do it or not having any like push or reason to do it within their job. And they're already so busy, right? So we're relying on people and not systems to make sure that we get a response. And then the fourth thing that I often see is we're treating ownership loosely. So we don't give them a really specific deadline and we don't have a backup. Let's say Emily is our SME, we know Emily like often gets this stuff on time, but we don't often have a backup for Emily if Emily falls through. So those tend to be the 4 biggest problems I see. But Matthijs, like, you talk to so many companies, like, what else do you see on top of this that tends to be the problem with SMEs getting a great response to you?
Yeah, for me, it's and this actually reminds me of which I'm going to share with everyone after this great tweet by this person who does a lot of trainings in people management, the stakeholder management, and one of the tips she gives is if you need input or if you need to give an update, if you're doing stakeholder management and need to bring people along, it's very important how you communicate, and that is about when you communicate, but also making sure that people have the right information to give the right input and make it as easy as possible, right? So of course there are a lot of, and I think this is also one of our main focuses in our product strategy is how can we make sure that that collaboration is as easy as possible, right? And what we look at then is, okay, how can we make sure that it is easy to respond, right? They don't have to go over multiple emails to get the inputs. They don't have to read through multiple PDFs, but it's really clear whenever they need to check something off or really do a proper review like you're saying. I think it's, and you can think of it, how would you like to be asked for help, right? You want it to be very clear and very understandable how you can be successful in helping another person. People really love to help other people. It always makes them feel good about themselves if they can help another person. So if you can play into that and also make it easy and enjoyable, that helps a lot. And that can be in systems, that can be in how you communicate, when you communicate. And in the end, it all drills down is, okay, if this person receives this request, can they then on the spot give you input, or do they first need 30 minutes to even get started on the task? I'll look up that tweet thread as well. I think it's like has 8 very concrete tips, which is also in the Altura employee handbook actually, which I always found very interesting. So for me, it's primarily around how do you want to be collaborated with personally when asked for help or input, and try to put yourself in the shoes of the receiving end of that request and see how you can make it as easy as possible, because they are doing something for you. But on the other hand, people like helping others. So it is also a nice to do for them if you can position it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think so. If you could put in the comments section, like the impact of failed collaboration, like what happened? What impact did you have when something went wrong with an SME? They didn't get something to you on time. They didn't look at something very closely. What happened?
And let's see what's coming in.
Yeah, while that's coming in, I'm gonna tell a story. I don't think she'll mind me sharing it. But I run a community on Stargazy, and I like almost daily get DMs from people asking for advice and things that are going on. And the main thing that comes up is SMEs, right? And I had somebody say that they literally needed to go drive downtown, like this is in the US, and submit a hard copy like response, because that's really common in the US, especially for public sector bids. And the SME hadn't gotten back to them. And the SME also said that they would be the one who would drive that piece of work down to the place where they needed to submit it. And they just like ghosted them and they didn't say anything. And so it was huge. Like they totally missed the deadline. They never got it submitted to a really, really important bid that they were relying on to win. So a lot of stress, also a loss. I don't know if any comments have come in though, Matthijs.
Oh, not yet. I think it's for us to share on what we see as the impact of field collaboration. I feel like it's a very obvious one. That's it's not winning the bid, but I'm keen to hear from you as well. What are other areas of where the impact can be? We got some coming in now. Yeah, maybe I'll show them in the screen.
Oh yeah.
Yes, go to the next one. Yeah. So I think the impact of these on actually winning the bid.
Yeah.
I see you have some metrics as well prepared.
I do. I have stats. But I like that you weren't just saying that you don't get things done on time. It really is. It's just not as good of a bid. Like it's just not compelling to your customers. I think SMEs don't realize like how important their impact is in getting like a really compelling response in. So I think that's a huge part of that communication with them. But I'll get into that in a bit. So the stats that I pulled out, these are not proposal specific. These are like higher level sales specific. But we know that 20% of a work week is lost, just like for people like us searching for or tracking down colleagues. Right? That's a McKinsey stat. That's a lot of time. And I bet you a lot of you like feel that. Also, proposal people are really going to get this, but 3 to 5% carry the load. So we are the ones who drive 20 to 35% of collaboration value within our sales processes. That's a Harvard Business Review study. And then if you want the numbers, 31.5 billion US dollars is a cost of failed knowledge sharing across Fortune 500s. And then 5.3 hours are wasted weekly waiting for info or recreating existing knowledge. So yeah, I don't know if you guys resonate with any of that, but I definitely did. It's just kind of insane to see it in numbers.
Yeah, I also see a lot of frustrations with bid teams I talk to. Is like they know that the information lives somewhere, right? They either used it before or it lives in the person's head, and it's always it's just not nice looking for information exists or lives in the top of the head of somebody else. Yeah, I think the 5.3 hours wasted weekly, I think a lot of frustration also live within those hours, which makes it less fun, of course.
No, I love that, Matthijs. I love wasting hours looking for stuff and chasing people. No, so I think what we can feel good about though is like if you're struggling with any of these things, you are like the vast majority of people. Like you are normal. You just be like Harvard Business Review and the Benham Tabrizi research showed that like 75% of cross-functional teams are dysfunctional in this way. Like you're normal. And this is how they saw as dysfunctional. So they fail at least 3 of these 5 criteria. So as I read these off, think to yourself, how many of these am I kind of like struggling in? Or not necessarily me, but when working with SMEs. So is it and responding to RFPs? Staying on budget, like are you actually making money and you're responding to RFPs? Are you losing money? Are you staying on schedule? Are you adhering to specifications? The 2 comments show me that like maybe not. Number 4, meeting customer expectations. Also probably not based on those comments. And 5, maintaining corporate alignment. So basically providing like a really wonderful proposal that stays on budget and stays on schedule. So do you have anything to add to that, Matthijs? Before I move on.
I think I'm just reading through them again. No, I think that all ties nicely together. And I think often when you have one, automatically you get 3 or 4 of those from that just having one not right.
Yeah, and I think of this as like a maturity model of like where you sit. So, the first level, like the lowest level, is going to be reactive. So your process is basically chasing SMEs and begging them to help you out. So your next move, if you want to like make it a little bit easier, is you have to have named owners for every single response with a defined deadline. So they know that they are in charge of this specific thing and they know exactly when that they need to get it done by. Like there's no ambiguity there. And then the second one is manage. So there is a structure There's coordination going on. To move up from that, you really do need to make sure there's a lot of scope reviews and backup built up. So what do I mean by scope reviews? Okay. This is where most of you are gonna be like, Christina, this is impossible. I can't do this. But I promise you, it is possible. It just might take a few months or a year. And that is, you have to put proposal responses or RFP, whatever you want to call them, ITTs, RPP responses, as part of their job description, as part of their KPIs, OKRs, whatever that they're getting graded on for their performance reviews. It has to be in there. Otherwise, like, it's always going to be the last priority. They don't like doing it. They don't want to do it. That's where it's going to be put. Okay. So my suggestion is always talk with their manager or even above their manager and be like, hey, look, winning these RFPs, they're so important to making sure that we get these in on time, that they're compelling, and that we win. And when we win these RFPs, that's what helps us all keep our jobs. This is such an important part of the role. So do everything you can, and I know this is kind of vague, but do everything you can to make sure that responding to RFPs becomes part of their KPIs, or it will always, always be last, no matter what you do. Like, there's nothing you can do other than making it important to them. So as easy as that is, the next thing is making sure that that ownership is then formalized, that you track those metrics. So great, they have those KPIs. Now you need to track what those metrics are. Do they get you the content in time? Is it good content? Now, I would say if you're in construction, like, obviously they're going to be the ones who have to give you that information. They're the ones who are going to have to, like, create the solution for you. But if you are in a lot of other industries, you can probably write up that first draft for them, whether it's with AI, whether it's just like yourself or like with past content, whatever it is, you can create that first draft. Now, it can be like missing that important customer insights piece. It can be inaccurate, but give them that first pass. That's gonna be so much easier than to review inaccurate, bad content than giving them nothing from the start. Like, I promise you, that always works faster in every industry that I've seen. And then the next thing, the next level. So you've won. You basically, like, have won SME collaboration ownership is controlled. So you have, like, really predictable expert input every single time. You get that customer insight, you get that accurate content. The things you just have to keep optimizing for are refining those cycle times and improving the handoffs. Like, that's just how, like, I hardly ever see number 4, by the way. Like, that is so, so rare. But I really would say if you can get to level 3 of maturity, you're going to be so much better off. You're going to win so many more RFPs. And the SMEs are going to make you a priority instead of put you on, like, the last thing that they think about. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's also. I know we have some metrics coming up. I also think it, of course, I think a lot of our audience are the ones chasing the SMEs, right? And all of them not all of them are in the power to make it part of the job description of maybe a colleague 5 teams down. So it could also help to make it more, like you said, the first one. It all helps us keep our jobs. So I think also really sharing, making visible what the impact is of the work that bid teams do, and also maybe even gamifying these SME collaboration metrics and sharing that internally. It's like, hey, we have worked with this team, and working with this team, we actually got a lot better collaboration, or bring it in a positive way. So I think sharing, making visible the successes, the challenges, but also the importance of the work can really help with that change management internally.
Yeah, I agree. I think if whoever their manager is, or whoever, like, yeah, whoever's in, I think all the way up to the executive level, like, what do they care about? Like, if it's a sales leader, like, let's say you're in IT, you're probably working with a solution consultant, solution architect. They're probably going up to the CRO or CSO. They care about revenue numbers. Like, what revenue do they impact both positively and negatively by being good or bad stewards of the proposal process? At least they're part of it. Like, you're going to want to know, like, what metrics matter to them and make sure that you're showing it in those metrics that they care about. And if you don't know what they care about, like you can probably figure that out through whenever they speak, in company meetings, or if they've been on written any blog posts. There's so many different ways to figure it out. Like, you're going to find out what they care about, and then make sure that you show how the SMEs affect whatever it is that they care about. But it's almost always going to be revenue, quite frankly. Okay, the control framework. So does anyone have questions so far, by the way? Like, I'm going through this so quickly. You'll have to tell me, Matthijs. But
yeah.
So what I've really looked at is, it's these 7 things, and you can just keep my suggestion is, you're not going to look at this every day, but like once a quarter, be like, okay, like, how am I doing with my SME management? Like, am I clarifying how important the priority is of this RFP? If like this is like an actual must-win RFP that everyone is kind of counting on to like hit the revenue number, how important is this RFP? Make sure everyone knows about it, including the SMEs manager. Be really narrow in your ask. Are you asking really specific questions and want a really specific outcome from them? Remember, they're not good proposal writers. They're not good proposal managers. They don't know what good looks like. You have to tell them. Route pre-drafted content. Like I said, if you can give them a first draft first, as opposed to just writing it themselves, so much easier. Log and learn that this is just metrics. Try and like figure out how quickly they're answering, how well they're answering, and then kind of learn from that. Outline early. So basically, for a lot of people, this is going to be kind of storyboarding. Get the storyboard out there first, so that they understand like what that they need to provide, not just like an answer, but like, what customer insight do I need to give? Like, if I spoke with a stakeholder, what information do I need to give? All that fun stuff. Triage expertise. How well am I like coordinating outside of just the SMEs? Especially if I know one SME is always kind of failing at getting back to me, how much of a backup plan do I have? How much am I speaking with their manager about how that's actually a problem, especially in connection with revenue? And then own the knowledge. Like, you are the owner of knowledge. Make sure that like you are keeping a really good updated content library of some sort, so that you don't have to ask SMEs the same question over and over again. Like, that's really not fair to them.
And maybe also own the knowledge on who best to ask, on what way. So more some learnings and improvements in how to collaborate with specific people.
Well, Matthijs, like, what have you seen? Like, because you speak with so many different companies. Like, what have you seen? Like, the ones that are like, they're using Altura as a tool, right? And Altura is a collaboration tool in some ways. And so when they're having problems with this, like, what do they say isn't working? What are they saying is working? Like, is it this stuff in the control framework, or is it something else entirely? Hard question. Sorry.
I don't know. I'm just like going through these conversations. So what we often hear when we talk to companies, when they are looking into buying Altura, we often get the questions like, how do I use this as well to collaborate with all these different people, right? Do they all need to log in? Do they all need to, like, how do I collaborate easily? And what we focus on is making sure that that we take away all of the IT blockages, like being easy to sign in, having the right roles and permissions, etc. That's like that just needs to be in place. But eventually, what we see is what helps with the tool is that you are able to easily send over the right information. Right? They can just click on a button, log in, and see what they need to do, but also the context is there. So there, it could be a highlighted source, or it could be a comment from another colleague. And they're not just looking at that specific requirement that they need to give input on, or they're not just looking at that specific risk that they need to give their opinion on. No, they're seeing it in the context of the entire bid. I think that is often really SMEs really like that. So they have all of the context there and everything just in one overview by clicking on the button. And it also goes the other way around for the bid manager, because they can track who's working on what. They always have this up-to-date live workspace, which is often a hard when people are working in spreadsheets and sending those things around. So again, I think it's a lot of these points that you mentioned really resonate as well with the conversations that we're having. Of course, more through the lens of a software tool, but these are definitely things that, yeah, we've built our solution around based on the problems and the pains that we've been hearing for the past 6 years.
Yeah, I personally, like, I've almost always used some sort of proposal management tool, like, ever since my early days. I'm an old lady now, but back in the day, like, even then we were using a tool, like, when I first started, and like these like tools like this did help with every single one of these stages. So I'm with you. I think the really tough thing, like, I think I can talk all day about these things that you could be doing better with your SMEs. And I think a lot of people can be doing things better with their SMEs. But I really do think it comes down to, no, I know it comes down to what your process looks like, how much ownership they have, and how much ownership their manager up to their executive believes that they have in the proposal process. And so I do want to put that out there because I can see probably not that not that like I know for a fact, but I'm sure some of you are listening to this and thinking, I do all this already, Christina. Like, I am so good at communicating with them. I am specific. They know the deadline. Like, I cannot ask any clearer. I'm still chasing them. And I really, for those of you, like, I really would suggest try and get it a part of their process. I know you're not a part of their team. You probably don't run out to their team at all, but make the case in every single way you possibly can to do that. And I promise you, everything else will fall into place. And the reason why I can say that is because I have managed teams of SMEs and proposal teams, and I never saw the change until that process tweak was changed. Yeah, overall. So, discussion topic. Get out your keyboards, everybody. Industry specific advice to get SMEs to collaborate better. So, every single one of you, for the most part, are in a different industry. Like, what's something that's unique to your industry that you think is useful? That might be like, even if it's just other people within your industry, but maybe might be useful to people outside of your industry.
Yeah. So what's already working for you? What's already working in your industry? While we wait on some input from the crowd, where do you we of course already touched upon construction, where it's really often like the backbone of getting a bid out the door. Where do you see it's often not that much of a problem? Where do you see SME collaboration to actually be very smooth or smoother than other industries?
It's never smooth. It's just more required, I think, in like AEC, like architectural engineering construction than anywhere else. Because like I'm not an engineer, I'm not an architect. Like I can't build you a bridge and like tell you what this is gonna look like. I mean, I could, but it'd be like a Lego one. It's not real, right? But a lot of my background has been in IT consulting, in software with like 300 plus services to choose from. So I could guess how to build those things. I could guess how to put that out, but I still required other people to come in and help me. So, for example, in IT, which, and I'm assuming this is kind of like facilities management, I had to rely on engagement managers to put together the right people for the job and how much that was going to cost and everything like that. Like I had to rely on somebody else to make sure that was okay. And that was like I just couldn't have done that myself accurately. And then I've always had to rely on legal. I've always had to rely on finance. Like that once again was nothing I could personally do, like with a huge like feeling like that was going to be accurate and not put our company at risk.
And looking back at that, was there anything specific to that industry? What helped, or are we? We're getting somebody to say physically lock SMEs in a room. Here we got it.
There you go.
That is maybe a bit extreme, but could help. And I think also that this could work in almost any industry. I also believe that there is just for some industries less involvement needed. where it is more the bits are less complex and it's more of the same service or more of the shelf stuff, goods that can be delivered a lot more easier. But I think especially where there's a lot of input needed, like construction, I often believe that the win is making sure that they understand that it will also influence their work at the end down the line, right? The input that they give is how they are eventually going to build the bridge. So it really matters to them to ensure that they give the right input, that they influence you as a bid manager to give the right input. We got another person here. Esther is saying involve SMEs already in the pre-tender phase. Definitely can see that helping with commitment, with people feeling engaged in and having that more of that sense of ownership, right? Instead of at the end with 2 weeks before the deadline, they come, they dump some big questions on me and expect me to do it. So I definitely also believe that making it a project of all of us, right? Including them in the pre-tender phase, including them when that tender pack lands, will help with more engagement. And then we have another one. In the industries you have supported, have you found a specific division or function with SMEs will reside that you consider has been more challenging than others? How would you respond to that, Christina?
Oh yeah, definitely. If they're an engineer, I don't mean the software engineer, I mean like an engineer. Yes. So whether you're working in aerospace or construction or architecture, yeah, definitely engineers. And I think it's because they don't work on the sales side ever. Like legal gets involved on the sales side, finance does obviously, but they don't. And so they don't really see the importance of it oftentimes. What I hear a lot is they think of proposals or bids as admin work, and so they don't think it as important. A lot of them don't really like writing, and it's pulling away from their day job, which they love and they want to do it. That's why they're engineers. So it's those three things I think makes them the hardest, at least from what I've experienced. But also solution consultants. Like if you work in software, solution consultants, solution engineers are not quite as difficult, but man, they're difficult to get in. I say that as somebody who managed a team of them. Like, I love them, but geesh.
Got another one coming up.
Stakeholder management and engagement plan. Nina, you have the exact name of one of my best friends. So what is your view on stakeholder management and engagement plan? What do you mean by stakeholder management and engagement plan? Like, do you mean like the full end to end, what you're building out whenever you receive a proposal? And the reason why I'm asking is because oftentimes I'm asked about stakeholder management and they're talking about internal, and sometimes they're asking about external. So I'm not quite sure.
Let's see if Nina can
Sorry, Nina.
context in the chat.
Just a bit obtuse.
We got
both internal and external. Yeah. So when I think of to me, like an external stakeholder alignment needs to be done before, like in the pre-tender phase, both inside and outside. Like I feel like if that hasn't been managed before you receive the RFP, then you're kind of starting out on the back foot and responding. And then when you do receive the RFP, like you can build out that storyboard, you can build out the outline that can then influence what the SMEs respond with. And then engagement plan, if that's an internal engagement plan, like I think that needs to be spelled out right during the kickoff call of exactly what you expect by who and by when and what exactly you expect them to do. But I don't know if that's exactly what you mean. And I think that's like I think there are whole books written about this. So I'm sorry if that was a bit too pithy.
Thanks, Christina. I'm very excited about this next slide, the metrics that we talked about. How can we I can also share and track and work together on improving. Can you take us along?
Yeah, I'll do it quickly. So SME turnaround time, how quickly are they getting back to you? On time, review completion, reviewing on time, escalation frequency, how much do you have to escalate that they're not getting back to you with them or their manager? Content reuse versus net new. Hopefully you're not having to write everything from scratch every single time. Obviously in certain industries, that's a different story. Section ownership coverage. So every single section within your RFP has an owner and they know that they own it. Proposal manager chase time. How much time during a bid are you spending chasing answers? And then review compression. By that, I just mean how much time are you spending on reviews? Like, is it getting shorter or is it getting longer? Yeah,
Reviews of the input the SME gave, or how much the SME is spending on reviewing, or both?
I would say you. Like at that, when you are, everyone has such different review processes, but like during your like first initial review of the whole entire response, how long is that taking? Is it getting longer or shorter?
Got it.
Yeah.
Then we're already in the last discussion point, of which I think we already answered throughout. So I'm keen if anyone still has any changes in the process that improve collaboration. We heard Esther saying earlier, include them already in the pre-tender phase, right? So get them along early on. I think that was a really good example, something worth trying out. It's eventually it's like building that team mentality and mindset as well, right? We're doing this together. Something you opened with Christina about, hey, this is what what keeps the lights on internally, us winning these RFPs and tenders. But do you have any other changes in the process that you've seen that were successful in SME collaboration? Let's see if anything comes in. Maybe Christina, you can already throw out some tips and ideas, tips and tricks.
I have. Well,
you haven't covered yet.
I've given my serious ones. Like these are the ones I would present in a very serious way, wearing a cardigan, which I am. But if I'm trying to be ridiculous, but these things work, when you are asking for feedback, unless like even if they're serious people, like do it with a GIF or something. Like try and be funny. Try and remind them that you're human and you need help. So yeah, try and be funny if you're a funny person. And then another thing is give them a super wrong response that they have to fix. Because like, especially with SMEs, like they want to fix something. They're like, how dare you write something incorrect? And I've seen this before. Like, this is something that like advice other people give. Be really incorrect on purpose.
There's a term for this. I think it was on Reddit where they asked for help. Nobody responded. The same person just stated completely wrong, and within like 1 minute, somebody corrected him.
It works.
So also, people like to correct as much as they like to help other people. They also like to be right and correct others. So that's probably something that you can use every once in a while to get a quick response. We don't have any other ones. Sorry?
Those are my non-serious ones that do actually work.
Yeah, they do. They're like they help. I don't see any other tips coming in, so I think we can already go to the final takeaways before we. Yes.
Okay, so what I'm saying as somebody who struggled with SMEs my whole career, because we all do, is it's not really usually a people problem. Usually it's usually like a process problem, and I mean like not just proposal process, but an internal organization process problem. So try and like if you are struggling with this, figure out where the delay starts. This can be different for all of you. Then redesign what that process looks like. I like that control framework that I talked about. Use that, and then also start working with everybody on the KPIs. Get it in there, make it a part of their job description. I'm not kidding. That'll be your biggest differentiator out of everything. And then measure. Like, you're going to keep feeling like something is wrong, but you're not going to know exactly what is wrong until you measure the things that I mentioned earlier, of like how quickly people respond, who's not responding to you, all that fun stuff. You just got to track it. And with AI nowadays, like, it's a lot easier to track these things. What else would you say people should take away, Matthijs?
I think for me, the main takeaway is also the human element to it. You said to allow people to remember that we're all humans and we're trying to do this together. And it's like, we're not trying to be annoying, but we're trying to get to keep the lights on, and we just need help sometimes. And the second part to it is that whole communication, right? It may be a give, or it may be ensuring that they don't start from scratch, or that they have all of the information in one place. So how can you make them feel the right way and make it very easy for them to collaborate with you? I'll definitely try to find that tweet thread I referred to earlier. I think it has some really practical tips on how to communicate better with people. But yeah, those are for me the main takeaways as well, next to these that you already shared with us.
Cool. Yeah. Any questions?
We had a quite quiet webinar today in terms of questions. So either we gave all the right answers, or people find this a really hard topic, or maybe both. Now is still the opportunity to ask for any other questions somebody might have that we are definitely keen to answer for you. And if we don't have any questions coming in, we'll share the white paper after, and also some extra information that we find. We got one question coming in. I'll put it up on the screen. Do you have can you interpret it as a native English speaker? How am I reading yours? Are you maybe you can rephrase it a bit?
Yeah, so I don't quite understand. I also feel like I get nervous when I read questions, and so like I feel like my brain doesn't work as well. So sorry, everybody.
Do you have any do you have any don'ts for dealing with SMEs?
Yeah, like how do I put this negatively? Like, just don't act like your proposal is the most important thing in the world, and that they should be they should feel like it's the most important thing in the world, because it's, to them, it's not. It does need to be more important than it probably is, but yeah, don't make them feel like it's the most important thing. Also, just like try not to make them angry. Like, if they're incredibly helpful and useful to you, make sure you make them feel special. Whether it's like you working with your sales rep, getting them like I don't know, like a nice bottle of wine, or what, like chocolate, or whatever it is that they like, to make them feel like that they are really valued and helping you out. But yeah, don't make them enemies, I guess.
That's important. Esther also shared. Let us get it. Be critical of my own communication again. I think also with a lot of the people being annoyed, there's a lot of people being annoyed in this whole process. I think oftentimes you can also it helps to reflect on your own process, right, in your own communication. Maybe give it a bit of a refresher. Maybe start communicating, asking input via different routes. Maybe you're always doing it via Teams chat. Maybe a shift and go do it via email and be like, hey, I'm trying to really make an effort to make the collaboration with you better. I'm tracking these efforts, these metrics now. I'm sharing it with your manager, and make them feel like you are also being reflective and critical of your own ways of working. So I think, Esther, that is a inspirational one as well. It is just an effort. It's something we need to keep improving on, and eventually makes the work a lot easier and more fun. I don't see any other questions coming in, so I think with 4 minutes to spare, we can actually close it off for today. And again, we'll share the white paper after, some extra information. We'll be doing these a lot more. Go check out the Stargazy community if you haven't done so already. There's a lot of interesting stuff being shared there as well. Christina, anything from you before we round it up for today?
No, just good luck with your SMEs. I know it's tough, but you're all gonna get it, I think. So, yeah.
Thanks everyone for joining. I hope you enjoy a bit of the sun today, and we'll see you in the next one.